Hello everybody, I'm Nicholas Alfano.
And I'm Madison Ingram.
And we'd like to welcome you to our campaign rally here in Amimi, Florida. First, we'd like to thank everybody for tuning into both of our programs that we had before this election, and then also for going and taking what you learned in our interviews and our debates and implementing it in the votes when you went and voted for our candidates.
I know you're looking forward to seeing your candidates for superintendent of schools, so without further ado, let's get to it. We have our first independent candidate, Anya Pinkleton.
I have just placed a phone call to Miss Avery Fletcher and congratulating her for her win. I'd also like to thank my family for supporting me throughout this election. I know it's been a long road, but having their support has meant everything to me. I'd also like to thank all my voters for going out to the polls and placing a vote for me. Even though we didn't win it, I really appreciate all the votes that I did have. I'd also like to thank my campaign manager, Miss Laurel Wade, for I could not have done any of the work that I did without her. She placed a lot of long nights into my campaigning, and she always gave me pep talks to get me through the hard nights and long interviews. I can't thank you enough for all the time you spent working on my campaign, and thank you so much. In the future, I plan to continue working within the Mimi school system. I want to improve them in any way I can. Even though I didn't win this election, I hope to further the development of them in any way possible. I encourage you guys to keep your eyes open for in the next couple of years if I see my name on the ballot again.
We now have our second Republican candidate, Miss Allison Andrews.
I would like to thank Ms. Ingram and Mr. Alfano for having me in both their interview and their debates that we had. I wouldn't be anywhere without my family and my support system, as well as I would like to thank the voters for coming out and voting and for watching all of the debates and interviews that happened. But most of all, there's one special person that I could not have done anything without. Would Mrs. Leffy please come and join me up here? She was my support system throughout this all and through the long nights and all of the hard work that she put in. None of this would have been possible without her. Thank you. Thank you. Also, for my future plans, I plan on returning to our school system. My old school offered my principal job back for the next school year, so I'd be joining them there. Thank you all.
We now have our winning candidate, our Democrat, Avery Fletcher.
I'd first like to extend my gratitude to both Ms. Andrews and Ms. Pinkleton, both of whom I've just received congratulatory calls from regarding my election as superintendent of schools. They both put forth excellent effort in this election, and I know they will continue to work for the betterment of our city. I also cannot speak to my being elected without first thanking my outstanding campaign workers, particularly my wonderful campaign manager, Jackson Griffith, who I will on stage at this time. His support, organizational skills, and unwavering effort and dedication are the reason I'm standing here the victor today. Furthermore, I would not have been this successful without the unwavering support of my family, my rocks in this political whirlwind. Their endless patience, optimism, and love is what got me through everything that I face and will continue to face. Last, but by no stretch of the imagination least, thank you to everyone who voted for me at the polls. I promise you all that I will put my heart and soul into my future endeavors in bettering Amimi school systems, and I assure each and every one of you that by the end of my term, Amimi schools will better enrich their students than they are currently. I will address fully the issues that preside in our schools, and my policies will combat and eliminate the problems that exist currently, as well as introduce authoritative longevity so that they do not occur in the foreseeable future. As I have said before, I truly believe that the children going through Amimi schools are the embodiment of our city's future, and I will ensure that they are as best equipped as possible to make our city flourish as I know it can.
I would now like to bring up our first candidate from the Director of Public Services, our Democrat, Ms. Milagro Cisneros.
Thank you, Mr. Alfano and Ms. Ingram, for having us all today. I just called Mr. Hayton to congratulate him on his victory. This has been a well-fought battle between me and my fellow cohorts. I wish Mr. Hayton well in all of his future endeavors and all of the policies he wishes to implement. I'd like to thank Mr. Hayton and Mr. Knight for joining me in presenting our platforms to the citizens of Amimi. I have to thank you, the voters, for your support and dedication. Also to my family, I'd like to show my gratitude in your unwavering dedication and support once again through the election. There is one person who's made all of this possible, Mr. Jackson Griffith, my campaign manager, my rock, who deserves a standing ovation for all the hard work he has done. Through various sleepless nights and long hours at the office, Mr. Griffith has made everything possible for me, and I may no longer be in a political position, but I hope to continue to help change Amimi for the better. I invite all of the citizens of Amimi to join me in becoming more involved citizens in our community. I invite you to go out into the community and make a change and make a difference, because